Imagine this. You walk into a luxury watch boutique. Behind the glass display are some of the most famous watches in the world. You're ready to buy one right now. The price? Around $10,000, maybe $15,000. You point to the model you want and say, "I'll take that one." But the salesperson calmly replies, "Sorry, that model is not available right now. We can add you to the waiting list." A waiting list. And the surprising part is that sometimes that wait is not weeks, not even months, but years. But here's the strange thing. Every single year, Rolex produces more than 1 million watches. So why are they still so hard to buy? And how did one brand manage to almost control the luxury watch market? Today we're going to break down how Rolex built one of the most powerful business strategies in the world. The story begins more than a century ago. In 1905, a young entrepreneur named Hans Wilsdorf founded the company that would eventually become Rolex. His vision was simple but ambitious. He wanted to create the most precise and reliable wristwatches in the world. At that time, most people trusted pocket watches more than wristwatches. Wristwatches were seen as less accurate and less durable. But Wilsdorf believed the future belonged on the wrist. And he was right. Rolex became a pioneer in several important innovations. For example, they introduced one of the first waterproof watch cases, known as the Rolex Oyster. Later they developed the automatic self-winding mechanism, called Rolex Perpetual. But the true success of the brand didn't come from technology alone. Rolex understood something very important. A watch is not just a tool to tell time. A watch is a symbol of status, success, and achievement. Today Rolex uses one of the most powerful strategies in business: artificial scarcity. At first glance, it may seem like Rolex produces a lot of watches. Every year the company makes roughly 1 to 1.2 million watches. But the demand is far greater, especially for the most popular models. Models like the Rolex Submariner, the Rolex Daytona, and the Rolex GMT Master II. These watches are desired by thousands of people around the world. But getting one is incredibly difficult. When customers walk into authorized dealers, they often hear the same sentence: "That model is currently unavailable." And that's where the waiting list begins. Sometimes the wait lasts months. Sometimes it lasts years. This creates another interesting effect. On the secondary market, prices become much higher. A watch that officially sells for $10,000 can easily sell for $20,000, sometimes even more. And the most interesting part? Rolex is perfectly fine with that. Scarcity is only part of the strategy. Rolex also tightly controls how their watches are sold. The company works only with authorized dealers. And those dealers must follow very strict rules. They can't freely discount prices. They can't sell certain models to just anyone. And they usually won't sell the most popular models to new customers right away. In many cases, if someone wants a highly sought-after watch like the Daytona, they first need to buy other watches from the dealer. In other words, customers must build a purchase history. This creates a very unique system. Rolex doesn't just control production. They also control how watches are distributed around the world. But the most fascinating part of the story happens outside the boutiques. On the secondary market, there are platforms where collectors and dealers resell luxury watches. One of the biggest is Chrono24. And this is where the real market value becomes visible. Some Rolex models sell for 2 or even 3 times their retail price. For example, the Rolex Daytona. Or special versions of the Rolex Submariner Hulk. Prices often rise dramatically when a model is discontinued. When production stops, supply becomes limited, but demand remains extremely high. And that's when prices can explode. At that point, the watch becomes more than just an accessory. It becomes an investment. Many people buy Rolex watches not only for style, but because they believe the watch may actually increase in value over time. Another secret behind Rolex's success is its marketing. Interestingly, Rolex rarely relies on aggressive advertising. Instead, the brand focuses on associating itself with achievement and excellence. Rolex sponsors some of the most prestigious sporting events in the world. Events like Wimbledon, the legendary race 24 Hours of Le Mans, and the famous golf tournament the Masters Tournament. The brand is also connected to legendary athletes and explorers. Over time, this created a powerful association. When people see a Rolex on someone's wrist, they subconsciously think, "This person is successful. This person has achieved something." And that perception is incredibly powerful. In the end, Rolex controls the market not because it makes the most expensive watches, and not even because it makes the most complex ones, Rolex dominates because it makes the most desired watches in the world. Their strategy is surprisingly simple: limited supply, strict dealer control, a powerful brand identity, and strong value on the secondary market. All these elements work together to create a unique system. A system where Rolex remains one of the most powerful brands in the world. That's why a Rolex is no longer just a watch. It's a symbol of status, an investment, and one of the greatest marketing masterpieces ever created. And that's exactly why, for decades, Rolex has continued to dominate the luxury watch market. And that's why the story of Rolex isn't just about watches. It's about power, perception, and control. If you enjoy stories like this, subscribe to the channel and like it so you don't miss the next ones.